And I want to welcome everyone. My name is Ashley Mott. I'm the GIS manager at Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council. And this is the Regional GIS Data and Technology Group. And just a quick agenda to let you all know what we're doing today. So first off, again, just welcome, especially if you're new. I appreciate you joining. And if you would drop your name and affiliation in the chat, that would be really helpful, especially for follow-ups. And our presentation today is with Daniel Rydl. Daniel, I hope I'm saying your last name correctly, Rydl.
You said it perfect.
Oh, okay, great.
That was awesome.
Daniel,
Great, good job.
Okay, good. So Daniel's the GIS administrator at the Florida Division of Emergency Management. And after we have Daniel's presentation and any questions for him, we're going to jump into a little bit of a discussion about drone programs in the region. And Allison put together a quick inventory of those programs, if anybody's interested. And then Halmar, also correct me if I'm getting your name wrong. I hope I'm saying that right. Halmar and Ryan from Manatee County are with us, and they can talk through how their drone program is going. And then we have Shannon Cox and Bo Feith are going to talk about some regional events and groups. And then we're going to open it up for discussion at the end. So for those of you that have attended the first two meetings of this group, you've seen this slide before. And for those that are new, essentially this group has been pretty focused on data and resolving those data gaps to this point, and also education and technical assistance. But I just want to highlight at the bottom that I would like us to kind of open up our purview to include geospatial technology trends and regional efforts. And that's kind of why we're looking at drone stuff today. All right, and also I just want to let you all know a former member of this group who's now a facilitator of this group, Allison Bednar. She's our new GIS analyst at TBRPC. Allison, did you want to hop on and just introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Allison Bednar. I recently started here at TBRPC about 2 months. It's flown by at the end of February. I've lived in Tampa for about 8 years now. I went to University of Tampa for my undergrad in environmental science, and University of South Florida. I got my master's in environmental science and policy, as well as their GIS certificate. And I come here from the USF Water Institute and Florida Center for Community Design and Research, where I perform GIS work on the Hillsborough County Vulnerability Assessment, along with several tree canopy analyses, most recently the City of Tampa tree canopy analysis. So I'm really excited to be here. At TBRPC, I'll be working on some upcoming disaster recovery plans and our coastal master plan.
Thanks, Allison. And I love your headshot here. All right, so we're gonna jump into the meat of the meeting. So Daniel, I am going to stop sharing, and
I'll go go ahead and take over in that regard. Okay. Oh, Allison, I'll tell you what, I like that headshot too. And you also totally had me at tree canopy, because actually in another life, it feels like I worked in forestry for just a little bit, about 5 years. So I've got a little bit of understanding about some of the forestry GIS products, but there's actually a component in hazardous modeling that has a lot to do with tree canopy and tree height and interpreting, raster products to develop tree blowdown in the analysis. So I might have to circle back with you at some point and pick your brain, because I've always wanted to crack that egg. So, HAZUS is FEMA's disaster modeling software, and it allows you to go in there and like mess with the parameters. And one of those parameters is height, primary species, a lot of neat stuff. So I really want to talk to you about that. So anyway, I got to share my screen.
Absolutely, Daniel, that'd be great. I'll also, Sean
Yeah.
Landry at the Water Institute has done a lot of tree canopy analysis, so he's a great guy to talk to as well.
Oh, really cool. See, that's why we do this stuff, right? Okay, let's see. Start screen broadcasts. So hopefully, okay. Can y'all kind of see what I'm looking at? Maybe. Can y'all see my tabs?
You can see your tabs.
Yes.
And
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so hey everybody, so much, Ashley, thank you so much for having me. Ashley, a little about Ashley. She's been a big advocate about what we do. I just can't, really thank those folks enough that have interest in our EM GIS community. It seems to sort of straddle lots of different disciplines around the state, whether it's water management districts, planning councils, emergency planning committees. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But the name of the game, at the division here in GIS is not only putting together the products and painting the picture of incoming potential threats and planning for stuff that has yet to hit. That's what we call kind of blue sky work. But the name of the game for us is outreach, and it's about bringing people together. We're lucky to have a state GIO that embraces that as well. So I'm just always really grateful to be surrounded by people that want to be part of FDEM GIS. And I'm going to lead off with that actually, but I'm not going to beat a dead horse because I feel like I talk about this all the time. And that is, working out of, helping assist actually on site, or even a remote capacity, I guess, but helping the Florida Division of Emergency Management do their job. So what that means is we have a call for folks to assist. If you have GIS background and you ever feel that, and we're not too far away, we're kind of pretty close here regionally. If you ever have interest, I'm talking to everybody on the call here, if you have any interest in assisting FDEM GIS in times of activation, it's a lengthy process. It's a little bit stressful. We welcome that. So if anybody has any interest in doing so, you can go ahead and just kind of pop your, you can email me or place your contact information in the chat. I also just dropped something in the chat. It's a simple survey 123 that we spun up, and it's about, all it is a little bit of a vehicle rather than mining like stuff out of our chat. If you have interest in joining some of our secure groups or possibly, being part of that roster for staff augmentation, we can actually do that too. But that survey 123 will just make it easy for us to get a hold of you. I believe it has, oh gosh, we did it again. I believe we have AGO username on there. That's what we mainly want. And like email. So if you want to stay in touch with us and know what's going on at FDEM GIS, please go ahead and fill out that survey that's in the chat. Okay, so that's out of the way. Next thing I want to talk about is, okay, we're getting close to hurricane season. I've already said it's all about collaboration. Part of that is knowing what, we want you to know what we're doing, where our stuff is. And we also want to know like what y'all are doing, where your stuff is. That's why it's important that we have these calls. So I'm going to use these few minutes just to go over some real high level things. Some of you might know about this stuff. Maybe some of you have never seen it. So the first place I want to start is just our website. It's not our geo portal. It's nothing like that. But this is the division's website. And there's a tremendous amount of good stuff on here. anytime that there's a potential threat, now that we're in hurricane season, we have our own meteorologists here. We communicate a lot of information through social media, and we also communicate out off this website. Down in the bottom, I believe we have our Twitter feeds. I think we got our weather outlook there. Social media is on here somewhere. My apologies. But across the top, there's a lot of engaging high level sort of tiles across where you can find some useful information. You'll notice that, okay, debris monitoring dashboard, that's still in action. That's for Milton. The debris reporting, we've got a bunch of links for Hurricane Milton there, Helene, Debbie, yeah, there's 3 of them. Know your zone, etc. So, I mean, it's a cool website. There's a lot of stuff there, and there's a lot of stuff on the, a little deeper in the weeds when it comes to emergency management. We have mitigation. We have some real nice stuff in mitigation and response and recovery and preparedness and all that stuff. So get to know floridadisaster.org. While we're here, I want to show you something pretty cool. It's this elevation certificate submissions portal. It was about, I don't know, 4 years ago through statutory regulation. The Division of Emergency Management was appointed to be the intake curator, the intake point, the curator, the entity in the state that is going to be responsible for all the new elevation certificates of the state. So anytime there's new construction on a site, it's mandated that an elevation certificate is actually filled out. And it used to come to us actually in the mail. So people would print their elevation certificates and they would put them in an envelope, and we were literally sitting on tens of thousands of paper documents. And then we'd also get them like through the email. We get PDFs and stuff. So we were like, we got to do something better than this. It's not serving the community. Everything's just trapped on this paper. So we engaged with this partner of ours, Forerunner, and they took over the process. But what they brought to the table was being able to use their internal algorithm AI, dark magic stuff, and they can scrape certificates. So we took all these paper certificates and we placed them in a mechanism where they're getting scanned and they're instantly going to a feature layer. And also, it serves as the single point to where if you are a surveyor, this is where you're supposed to go. So I can't really give that enough light, right? I mean, not every surveyor in the state knows this website, right? But so keep that in mind. If you know anybody that needs to submit elevation certificates, this is the place. You see, so you access this from our website. Very simple interface. But the real cool stuff is if you X out of here and then say, let's do my address. And is that going to do it? Yep. There's all kinds of neat stuff in here. So essentially what it is, it's a mashup of the newly imported elevation certificates, surge zones, old data that's on file related to elevation certificates, parcel information, just all kinds of stuff. It's a cool looking interface. I love it. They use Mapbox. Hey, I'm becoming more and more a fan of Mapbox by the day. It's really slick. So I encourage you guys to go in here and look at this information. Pass it on to anybody that you feel it would benefit, and just kind of keep it in mind. It kind of gets passed over with the know your zones and the hurricane stuff and all that. But this is a really important piece too. And so we're sitting now at about 250,000 newly curated elevation certificates, and that's just going to keep growing and growing. And pretty soon we're going to have a very comprehensive statewide data set, and maybe 10 years, but I mean, that's not soon really, is it? But we're getting there though. And imagine what it's going to be like when we have all these new elevation points that, you know, we're survey grade that we're taking across the entire state. I mean, I think that's all really exciting. Florida's really a leader here. Okay, so after the website, the most important thing that you need to know about is the, I thought I had it here. I wanted to find my, I know I have it here, my geo portal. So number 2, heck with it. We'll just go back a little bit. So after the website, after our website, there's the geo portal. So now we're dealing with just with GIS stuff. So keep that in mind too. You can access this from the website. So if you ever forget, you go to floridadisaster.org and then you can find this. floridadisaster.maps.arcgis.com is our geo portal. So a couple things I wanted to show you on here, on the front facing tiles that might help you. I'm not sure if y'all have seen this application, but it is really cool. It's not my primary one that I'd like to be using here. I'd rather be plugged directly into the Florida Forest Service. We're having some difficulties with that connection at the moment, but this is a Esri's product for wildfire tracking. And as we transition out of fire season into tropical season, this won't be as big a deal, but right now we're still in fire season. Hopefully the rain this weekend is going to sort of put a kibosh to that, but you can use this application to see what's going on around the state. A lot of this is satellite driven. It records hot spots like you can see on this little dot there, controlled burns, all kinds of neat stuff. But the geo portal on itself just has a wealth of information, the top level stuff, and probably the star of the show is the Know Your Zone application from the geo portal. This allows you to click on a map or put your address in. You can click a zone, and we'll clear that. That'll help. And we can click a zone, and over here it's going to show you what evacuation zone you're in, which is helpful when a storm is coming. When they issue evacuation orders, you want to know where you're at. And also there is a link here that will take you to that county's specific EM website. So that's where you really want to go if you want to understand your evacuation orders. So keep that in mind. So if you want to see what your county's saying about you, you know, what the population should do within that county, you can use Know Your Zone, get the high level view, and then click on the link to explore it further from your own county. And also we have finally translated it over to Spanish. So that's kind of neat. I'm going to go through a few other tabs here. So we can get rid of wildfire. Number 2, probably in its term and popularity, is old Gator. Gator is like everything that we got. And I'm not a fan of that kind of mapping. I don't like maps that have, just, a collection of everything. But there is like a home for it. And a lot of people, Gator's been around a lot of time. Gator's a fancy acronym. I forgot even what it means. It's Geospatial Awareness Tool for Operational Response, I think, or something like that. But anyway, it does what it does pretty good. It's responsive, it draws well, and I'll show you in the layer list, it has everything. So as you're going through, I mean, not even hurricane season, if you just need authoritative data from the division, this is a good place to get it. You can always right click on the layer and you can get more information on through show item details. Then you could like copy the URL of that layer because all this is public, and you can put it in your own map. I like to do that a lot. I like even when we're activated and like super busy, I'll keep some of our common operating picture type maps up all the time and use it as like bookmarks. So I'll come over here, get item details, and I find it a real easy way to grab layers that I'm constantly like trying to find. But it's pretty cool. I mean, all the way down, we've got weather, we've got live forecast, live tropical weather, we got social vulnerability in there. We have all of our critical facilities and infrastructure. We have the river conditions that are tied to the river gauges, and on and on and on. So I would invite you also to look at Gator on the Geo portal. And let's see, river conditions is a big one. This one here, that's the same data that I just mentioned, but it's, you know, formulated in a dashboard. There's the elevation certificate dashboard to circle back to the elevation certificates. This is talking numbers. This is going to tell you, you know, how many certificates in this county in this year, this month, whatever, you know, if you want the metrics on how many's coming in and where they're at, that's a good one to use. Let's see here. Let me go back. Oops, sorry about that. And by the way, I don't know if y'all can come off mute, or you just like normally put stuff in the chat, but if anybody has any questions while I'm just sitting here talking to y'all, just interrupt me, let me know. I'd rather answer your questions than just throw a bunch of stuff at you. And I know y'all got other stuff going on, so I won't be too much longer. The other piece that I wanted to explain is, you know, on that collaboration front, this is one of those horses that I said I didn't want to beat too much, but that survey 123 is going to help us get to what we're seeing here. So here at FDEM GIS, we have a group called CERT GIS. When we do our collaboration calls during events with our state GIO, we are soliciting all the people on the call to, if you haven't, you know, if you're a stakeholder, if you've got interest in this event and you want to be part of this community, want to see the stuff that we're creating, and, you know, if you want data to use on your own, even the likes of ISI, which is hard to get your hands on, you can find it in this group. So if you want to keep track of what we're doing up here, number one, you want to listen to those coordination calls from our GIO. Ashley, you know, you guys have probably talked about that before. As a matter of fact, I think Ashley and TBRPC are even doing their own, something similar. I think I remember something on that, but it's a great way for us to just share what's going on, so y'all, you know, so we don't feel like we're, you know, stuck behind a wall or a bunker, which actually this place kind of is. But there's a lot of good content in here. For instance, we can look at the eyesight data real quick. As a matter of fact, I think I had it up here. Yeah. So for instance, ISI. So ISI is synthetic aperture radar flood extents. An incredible product that's, you know, being curated by this, and that's being collected from these small constellations of satellites that are trained to do nothing but hunt water. So as soon as we get these during an event, during the next few days after like the surge and the rain is stopped, you know, this is going to be hosted and you can get your hands on this. For instance, this is like one of the things, if you are involved in that group, that you can bring down, and it's very useful. You want to find out, you know, its depth and its extent. So if you want to find out impacts in your community on the side of, you know, flooding, this is a great product that you'll find in there. Let's see here, a few other things maybe. Also included in the CERT GIS group, power outage. We have our power outage dashboard, an easy way to find it. The power outage dashboard is actually in the Geo portal too. All the new apps and maps that we spin up during events will be also placed in CERT GIS. Our hazardous runs, our hazardous analysis, our disaster analysis products, from ourselves and from FEMA, we also place in CERT GIS, and damage assessments, apps, tools, all that. You want to get your hands on a template from, let's say, Quick Capture, Survey 123. We have the FEMA compliant templates that you can actually use yourself, and you can stand your community up. You can build a simple survey with it. You can ingest it using Survey 123 Connect by importing an XLS, or you can use the fancier online versions and the Quick Capture templates. So what that enables you to do is be on the same page with the state and also the feds. So If you have surveys that you're completing and you want to push them up for visibility, we can easily take those surveys, we can blend them into our surveys, and then we can push them up to FEMA. So all your hard work is noticed. I think that's about it for CERT GIS. It's a lot of fun just to kind of poke around and look for data and play with data. Let's see, we covered most of that. Florida GeoPortal, that's pretty much all I really wanted to cover. I mean, 15 minutes isn't much of isn't a whole lot of time to have with you, but it was enough for me to get that out. So if anybody has any questions at this point, please let me know. I'll stick around for Q&A, and I'd love to hear from you. So thanks. I'll stop sharing too here.
Hey, Daniel, I'll kick it off. For the CERT group, do people, I don't know if you said this, they have to contact you directly to join that group, is that correct?
Yeah, all you have to do, that survey 123 that we dropped will actually stop share. There we go. Sorry about that. The survey 123 we dropped in the comments will provide an easy way for us to get okay, excuse me, still doing some maintenance here. The survey 123 that we dropped in the comments will just provide an easy vehicle for us to get our hands on your AGO username. That's pretty much it. So if your ArcGIS Online username is publicly visible, we will find you and we will push you into the CERT GIS group. So that if somehow, with what I was saying, it was kind of lost in translation about what I was trying to drive at. That's what I was trying to drive at. So it's a group that we want to bring you in so we can show you some of that proprietary data that's ours, ISI has been fantastic with understanding that, their data, is not, if it's not in the hands of the people that we're serving, then it's not a whole lot of use if it's just siloed here. So even though it is a proprietary, so it's something we pay for, I will put it in CERT GIS and allow our members in CERT GIS to be able to use that to their advantage. And that's what CERT GIS group is about. We want to just empower everybody and let everybody know what we're using. I want y'all to feel like you're seeing the same stuff we are. And as we create new stuff, we put it in there. So it's a great way to stay connected, but kind of do it off to the side, kind of.
I have a question.
Yep.
This is Sarah Sillers at Hillsborough County. Is there a way for us to join the group if our profile is not publicly shared? You're muted. I don't know.
Daniel, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm
You're
terrible.
mulling that one over.
I'm really terrible at these. I'm not good. I do them so much and I've not gotten much better. No, somebody from S3 told me quite a while ago, it's been years, but they were like, and it was on a call too. It's kind of embarrassing. They were like, you don't have to be publicly visible to be brought into that group. I've been told that we've always needed to have that account publicly visible. If you have one that is not publicly visible, please send it. And maybe I can put this to rest for once. It's like, here's one that I know is not publicly visible, but can I still find you? That's what, that's what it is. So, when I'm adding somebody to the group, if you mess with that, you typing it in, it'll auto recognize what that account is. And then you click on it and then boom, you bring them into the group. If you think that you're not publicly visible, I may be able to still find you. I don't know.
Okay. I know that I'm not, because I emailed you about this a long time ago. So I looked into it and my account's not public, but
is there any way y'all could create just a group one that is, something that's stripped of maybe some of the, some of the privileges you have as a regular user, but maybe this is just the CERT GIS AGO username, maybe something like that. Or maybe I could even create y'all an FDEM handle. So I could just give TBRPC an account, so to speak.
This is Jamie from Pinellas. Sarah, I think you can just make it public. He can find it, give you the permission, and then you can make it unpublic again. Because it's more about playing Cupid and getting matched up and getting the permission, I think, than it is about always having a publicly available account.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but I know our director and the other two managers, they all want access. So doing that for all of us at the same time is just kind of hurting cats, but we can we can figure it out
Yeah.
and I'll
Yeah,
email you, Daniel.
let's keep our foot on the gas on that one and shore that up. That would be a nice little win from this call. You know, again, you know, I've got this internal clock that is ticking down to June 1st. So I always feel like, you know, my back's against the wall. I've got all this stuff to do. If one of those things is to make sure that we get y'all within that group, that would be a wonderful outcome from this meeting.
I
Okay,
also
I'll be
have
in
a
touch.
question. I have a question for Daniel.
Yeah.
For the to join the CERT, do you need to have a task book?
No, not at all. No,
Okay.
this isn't even about emergency management, so to speak. This is about, you know, our state GIS analysts who come from, gosh, no, you know, this is not an EM specific. There's very few people in that group that are actually part of emergency management. There are other things, you know. Most everybody, of course, is GIS to some degree, but no, I want to reach the folks like, if you don't have a task book, you know, I don't have a task book. I mean, I don't necessarily, you know, I don't need that at all. No, it's a good question, but I want, you know, if you have GIS capabilities and you can use them for the good of those around you, then man, that's who I want in that group.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Kate, sorry.
Hi, Daniel. This is Kate Norris. I'm with the Geoplan Center at UF, and we're also FGDL.
Hi.
Is there a way to download the critical infrastructure database?
Yeah, absolutely. There's let's see, how should we do this? It's probably best that I roll it up, do a fresh export and roll it up and give you a link.
Okay.
Do you got my email?
No, can you put that in the chat and then I
Yeah.
will send you an email? And
Yeah,
after I have a second part to that question.
okay. Yeah, go ahead, shoot.
So we deal with like a lot of the infrastructure because DOT runs analysis for impacts. And I had a question on some of the critical infrastructure, for instance, like fire stations. Is there an update cycle for that, or is there a mechanism for updates if we notice that something has been replaced with a different facility?
Well, that's sort of a sore spot at the moment. So we used to do that. I mean, you know, we were great at that. That was something that we were very adamant about doing, and we actually baked that in to the EMPG funding requirements. So it was like this back and forth, like, okay, part of the checklist is to share your critical facilities with the Florida Division of Emergency Management. And, you know, there were check boxes and back and forths, and, you know, we'd go through this process, and we yearly, and at times even quarterly, we were going back and forth with all of our counties. So it was pointed towards like the EM directors at the counties. That is no longer the case. That piece of EMPG no longer is there. So there is no more requirement for counties to share back and forth with us. So we are working internally at a workaround, and there's only 3 of us here. So it's, you know, that's a heavy lift. Like if you're going to go round up, we want to talk about herding cats. If you're going to round up 67 county level data sets and do it off to the side just through Outlook, and there's no real incentive for people to do it, then it's pretty hard to do.
Oh, I've done it. I understand.
Yeah, but we want to. And when we have the opportunity to do so, even in those coordination calls, we'll bring that kind of stuff up. Be like, please, if you were to send me, like, for instance, if you were St. Johns County and you sent me like all of your critical facilities, even if it was just like a spreadsheet, we would totally do that. We could do that in an afternoon. That's not a big deal.
Okay.
But we are working currently. So there, right now, I'll warn you right now, there's going to be, if the last 18 months or so, if there's been a new fire station, it's probably not going to be in there. We've even kicked around about, probably won't be in there. There's some onesie twosies that we've taken care of, but not enough to be able to say confidently across the state. Yeah. We've even kicked around about temporarily like yielding over to Highfield just to be able to say, sure, we're trying to work something out. It's always done better at the state than it would be at the Fed side. But I can always say, hey, this is FEMA's latest edition of that data. So, that at least I can kind of hang my hat on, like, it's FEMA's authoritative data. What can I do?
Well, yeah, and I looked into the Highfield data and compared it to the data that you had. I know the data you have is older, and like you're saying, it's not being updated. And then I compared it to the USGS, which is actually how Highfield is getting their data. I kind of did some digging on this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Uh-huh. And so how that whole worked, but then I was noticing where structures had been closed and other facilities had been opened. And I just didn't know, because we're not St. John's Water Management District. We're not a county. Is there a way for, if I see updates, to say, hey, here's a table, you should probably go, but we're not the authoritative figure because we're FGDL.
No, I'm sure I know we're getting in the weeds a bit there, but I mean, I totally understand. Like, if you had a spreadsheet, you did your own legwork, and you have a list of critical facilities that you vetted and know that they're there, I would happily take those.
Okay.
I would happily take those. We can vet those as well on our side, and we can swap them in. So I would love to do that. If you want to, if you want to go all in on this and you want to work with us on doing this, maybe you could be part of the piece that gets us kind of back up and, in a cycle. We want to have this conversation about what is our, how are we going, we want to talk about the process. Like, we've already, we've identified some of the easy ones. There are the major communities around the state that have what we call self-serve sort of geo portals. We know we can go get those and do those, but that leaves us with a bunch of counties that we can't. So, that's not a solution, but it's better than nothing, at least, for the major communities. But we're looking at the process just like that. Like, okay, we know we can do it on these larger counties, but these smaller counties we can't. Maybe we split the state up by our regions, and once a quarter we do a region, and then we pull the self-serve stuff out, and then physically reach out and contact those other counties and try to work with them one-on-one, try to kind of make the bite size a little smaller for us, something like that. But we really should have like a full-on panel and a discussion, and like, okay, what do we got to do going forward? Because we know how important that data is. So I really appreciate those questions. And if you reach out, we can talk about all that stuff.
Hey, Daniel,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interject. I got to move on because we got a couple other things we got to get through on the meeting.
Thank you.
But I really wanted to thank you for joining us and running through those resources. I wanted to give you a heads up too. Myself and several other of the folks on the call, we couldn't access that survey 123 that you shared. So maybe
I wonder if it didn't get shared properly. Yeah, we did it this morning real quick. I'll tell you, check it before your call ends. I'm gonna go check the settings and just revisit it in a few minutes. You should be good.
Okay, thanks again, Daniel. And I recorded this, so I'll cut up this video and I can send it out to folks, and you can share with those that might have not been able to join this call.
Awesome. Ashley, thank you so much. You're a rock star, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, Daniel. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye on the time. I know there's probably a few folks on this call that want to grill Daniel a little bit further, but you know, let me know if I can help in any way. And I actually have an event that is sort of related to what Daniel talked about that I'll share later. But I want to spend about 8 to 10 minutes on this drone topic, and then we're going to move to the regional events and groups. Because I want to make sure that we finish up at 11. So Allison put together a drone inventory for us of what we found in the region and a little bit beyond. So the catalyst for this discussion was Jamie at Pinellas County. I guess they're kicking around the idea of potentially starting a drone program there, and TBRPC actually is kicking around this idea too. We're a little bit on pause with that right now. Allison, I think in the, you know, just to be timely, we're gonna have to kind of brush over the inventory and get to Halmar and Ryan. But I'm going to share the inventory in the chat. And Halmar, are you able to, I see you there. I don't know if you guys, you and Ryan want to hop on and share anything? Ryan, can you hear me? I see you and Homar on there. I didn't know if you guys want to share anything quickly. Sorry, the
Yes.
time's getting a little compressed.
No, that's okay. Would you repeat the question, please, if you don't
Oh,
mind?
I just wanted to share because we did our own internal inventory at TBRPC of the drone programs that we know through the state public, like county, city, regional planning council. And I just wanted to check in with you guys because there was some interest from other member governments of TBRPC and drone programs. So I didn't know if you could maybe give us the 5-minute elevator speech of what your drone program's about.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I hope that I can do it in 5 minutes.
Okay. Sorry
Because it
about
has
that.
been a long journey for us too as well. We started, of course, with DJI drones because it was cost effective, and in those times we did not have any regulations to prevent us to purchase that type of drone. But now our inventory is more towards complying with the blue list that the state of Florida have as a regulation for us to purchase drones. And we right now have drones from the Escario manufacturer, Inspirefly manufacturer, Alta, I believe, manufactured too as well. So we have drones to do LiDAR, multispectral, thermal inspections, search and rescue. And we basically, our purpose have been not only to provide services for Manatee County, but other agencies too as well, and support other processes and other tasks that other agencies may need. For example, we are part of a group that the University of Florida, I believe, have, that they provide support to all emergency drone operations. And with that university, that I can share their contact later on, because I don't remember exactly who they are. They don't cross my mind this morning. I'm slow, I guess. But that have helped us to include our drone fleet and our drone pilots into the emergency system as well from our EOC operations. So now we can, and we have provided for last year, we provided some drone footages to the EOC management system so they could to take decisions. At the same time, we had other emergency operations, like we Piney Point, we provided live feed to the EOC 24/7 for several days. So it has been a really great tool to have, be part of this new era of droning, like what we call it. So it has been a great initiatives that we have created, and we have expanded our services and our capabilities too as a county.
That's so cool, Homer. Yeah, like if you guys want to drop any links in the chat where we can learn more, I think Allison probably grabbed a few of those for the inventory, but you know, we might have not seen everything. So anything that you want to share would be
Yes,
awesome.
of
And
course. And Centine, anybody is more than welcome to contact me. I will put my email in the chat. So if somebody have a questions or want to know a little bit how we implemented our drone program and all that, and we can give them some tips and tricks.
great. Yeah, I know, I heard Jamie on the call, so hopefully Jamie can, reach out to you and learn from you all kind of the ups and downs of that process.
Yes, of course.
Did anybody else want to chime in on the drone topic? I'm sorry that we had to brush through it so quickly. I just want to be respectful of everyone's time and not go over 11. Pinellas
Centine, that's why I
County?
did a quick summary.
Yeah, Pinellas County, anybody else you want to chime in here before I press on?
I would just probably say short term, with Pinellas County, we're really planning on continuing to use our vendors for our drone program. We're going out to RFP. We're going to be extending that, getting more drone vendors under contract, but really focusing on working out blue sky workflows so that when the gray skies come around, we've already got process and all kinds of things in place. That was our biggest challenge with drones and hurricanes, was we were building the airplane as we were flying. And that was challenging. And so we're taking those lessons learned, and we're making some adjustments and getting prepared for this upcoming hurricane season.
If I may, then I would advise looking into the Florida Unmanned User Group, Southwest Group. There's a David Merrick from the Florida CERT as the air operations that works with that out of FSU. They organize all of the, whether it's county-based or private drone pilot groups that are available to, kind of bounce ideas off of, work with. They do yearly tests where they do simulations of responses, and they're a wealth of knowledge. They're always available to talk to. So that would be a great place to start. There's a form to fill out to get invited, and that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah.
They do meetings once a month.
I will look up that info. I think the other thing to share with this group is we're trying to tightly integrate with Esri, and Esri's got a video platform, Excalibur, and so we've been trying to work out some flows to take that drone data, and so when you're playing the video, that it automatically like moves on the map to show where it is. So you got like a split screen, you got the video going in one, and then you've got the map, panning and zooming and showing that. And there's some things that need to be done with the metadata to accomplish that, and trying to find expedient workflows and getting vendors to actually do those same workflows too. So I guess outlaying a few of the other challenges and things that we're looking at. But thank you for that info. I'll definitely follow up and try and leverage those resources too as we explore this new path.
Yeah, Centine, thank you, Ryan, for supporting and providing that information about South Florida University.
Yeah. With the expediency thing, that's just a matter of, unfortunately, working out the process. For us, it's the pilots are getting us the data as quickly as they possible, either through hotspots or coming back, and then we are doing everything in-house because the remote processing takes too long. We did tests. It was like up to 8 hours to run an online processor, 4 hours to do it on laptops, or it was 15 minutes to run it on a PC that was built for it. So yeah, unfortunately, sometimes it's just a matter of working those kinks out and figuring out the best solution. And if you're using vendors, that they're going to have to find their particular cup of tea.
I'll just nod my head and understand. I agree. Had many of those, but in the interest of time, I'm just gonna nod my head and agree with you because I know what you're saying.
Well, thank you guys so much. And again, I'm sorry that I have to press on. It's cool at least that you're connecting on this topic. Thanks, Halmar. Thanks, Ryan.
You're more than welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for what you do.
All right, thank you. So now we're going to move on to some regional events and groups. And first off, I just wanted to thank Shannon and Bo for being here. And a happy birthday, Shannon. Shannon, do you want to take over the screen, or do you want me to just go to some links? What do you want to do?
So I don't have any slides for women in GIS, but I do have slides for GeoFlow.
Here, I'm going to stop sharing. And I don't want to interrupt you guys, but I'm just, I'm coming up on 8 minutes. I'm so sorry. So
Nope, no worries. I think I could run through it pretty
Okay.
fast. All right, so we'll start with Women in GIS. So Women in GIS Tampa Bay chapter is just a chapter of the International Women in GIS organization, which Women in GIS is an all-volunteer 501c6. It's an inclusive group of women and allies coming together to provide support, resources, and opportunities for success. It is a inexpensive professional organization to join. It is $20 for students, $40 for professional, and that is for a year. For the Women in GIS Tampa Bay chapter, we started our chapter in late 2018. We did our first social in 2019 and our first meeting with presentations in March of 2019. We got all the way through 2019 doing things quarterly, and then COVID hit and we kind of fell off the map. We tried to keep our local group alive by whenever COVID restrictions were lifted, we started doing socials again. So we're now trying to do a social every month. We would like to move back into meetings, throwing those in there quarterly. We're also starting to branch out and do some other activities like nature walks or something on a Saturday, just getting out into the wild. So one of the events that we participate in as Women in GIS, let me get over to my slides, is, sure, okay. So GeoFlow Summit is a collaborative effort between multiple local user organizations in the West Central Florida area. And if I can figure out how to navigate. Oh, there we go. So our first event was in 2019 to celebrate GIS Day. And we officially became a nonprofit in Florida in 2023. We provide an educational forum with geographic and geospatial industry to encourage involvement and influences users to learn, share, and grow. So we really just want everybody to come and share their story, share what you're working on. It's a full day event. It's free. We provide lunch. So this is just a little bit about GIS Day. So just to run through a couple of our events, our inaugural event, we had 130 attendees, all in person. There were 11 presenters. We had a map gallery, we had a mapathon at the end of it, and then we had some vendors. As COVID happened and we started going remote, we did 2020 remote, and we had 15 countries, 15 states involved, and 220 people attending online. Still continued to go through the years with a hybrid. Well, I think this was our first hybrid event. We did it at the UF, there it goes, Gulf Coast Research and Education Center in Balm. We didn't get too many people in person, so we decided to return to our original location in 2024, another hybrid, and we were back in the UF Plant City campus. And we're actually really looking forward to this year. Stop sharing now. Sorry, I know that was really super fast. We're really looking forward to this year. We have a new location. And it's going to be more in the central Tampa area. And I think we are about to send out our save dates. I actually have Ashley Snyder here, who is our president at this time. So if I mess anything up, she can help out with that. But Ashley Snyder is also the co-lead for Women in GIS Tampa Bay chapter. So I'm just going to start dropping links and email addresses into the chat. GeoFlow does have a website. It is geoflow-summit.com. And then we have a YouTube page, GeoFlow Summit. And from, I believe it's like 2021, all of our recordings are up on that YouTube site. So I will give it over to Bo and let him go over his group, and I'll just start dropping links in the chat.
Awesome, Shannon, thank you. Bo, are you there? Do you want me to share your handout that you sent me?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. And thanks for hanging in there, Bo. Sorry that you're at the very end here. Can you all
No.
see that handout?
Yep, I see it.
Okay.
Yeah, so this handout will be distributed to everyone on the call after this via chat or email. But I wanted to share 2 ways you can get involved in the GIS community. To start off, there's a local GIS user group called TBGIS, and our mission is to have local collaboration, network opportunities, opportunities to earn GISP credits, and presentations. You can get involved with us by either joining our Slack workspace, our LinkedIn group, or the email distribution list. Our next meeting will be in person, May 14th during the lunch hour at FDOT District 7. So that's going to be next Wednesday. All our events are open to the public free of charge. And then second, if you're interested in a more global group, there's one called the Spatial Community. And this is a Slack workspace that has over 10,000 members across the world and an array of different sectors with skill levels ranging from beginners to developers to even organization administrators. This community is platform agnostic, so you can ask any specific question you want, even if it's ArcGIS Online, if it's scripting, FME, or data sources. Due to the size of the community and the global reach, you can often expect a reply fairly quickly. And as with TBGIS, Spatial Community is also free of charge. And those are the QRs and the links on the screen. That's all I got.
Hey, Bo, what are you guys going to talk about at the May 14th meeting? What's kind of on the agenda?
I am not sure, to be honest. That's gonna be a surprise. I know someone's been talking about it. But
Okay, cool.
we do have a presentation. If you want to present, if you go to the TBGIS website, we also have a form that you can sign up to give presentations.
Okay, I'm going to drop those links in the chat. Thanks, Bo, for joining.
No
It's
problem.
cool to have like a dev person on here. Okay. So I gotta, unfortunately, gotta skip over the discussion piece, but I wanted to let you all know, here we go. I am looking at, for next meeting, which is August 14th, Corey from SwiftMud has agreed to present or screen share. Corey couldn't be with us today because he's at an ASPRS event. He just wanted me to share this in the chat with you all today. If you're interested in that group, they're kind of focused on imaging and photogrammetry. And I'm going to make sure in the future not to conflict with those events. And I was thinking of creating a quarterly newsletter to kind of clean up, as opposed to having y'all rifle through the SharePoint folders that I make. Just make a clean platform to share these meeting materials and all the good resources that you all are sharing. And then finally, we're right at 11 o'clock, so I wanted to mention some upcoming TBRPC events. Our Regional Resiliency Summit is next week, and the last day to register is tomorrow. So if you're interested in that and you haven't registered, hurry up. And another one I wanted to let you all know about was, especially for the EM folks here, we have NOAA, Hurricane Center, and FDEM folks that work on the evacuation study. participating in a web panel, May 22nd. Here, I'm gonna drop this Zoom registration here. And other than that, we have a vulnerability assessment forum that you all might want to join if you're working on a VA or if you're doing resiliency work. So that's all that I have today. Does anybody want to chime in with anything else before we sign off? And again, I wanted to apologize for compressing at the end there. I'm hoping, I see Marcus is still on the call. Like, I'm hoping that I can get with maybe TBAP, Ford, Pinellas, and a couple others to plan some future meeting instances. You all have really cool dashboards and products and data to share, so hoping we can coordinate on that. All right. Anybody else? All right, cool. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ashley.
Have a great week. Thanks everyone who spoke and participated, and hopefully I can keep an eye on the time a little bit better in the future. But I thought today was, there's a lot packed in there. So thank you all for participating and have a good day.
Yeah, this was great. Thanks, Ashley.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks so
Great, bye.
much.
Bye.